Hello again, this is Valerie Geddes. I recently had someone ask me, I found a wheel. How do I take it apart to transport it? Does it come apart? Do all parts come off? Those are good questions, especially if you don't have a great wheel currently or are not familiar with them. Maybe you found one at a rummage sale, a estate sale, online, so many things that you might be able to find. And most often, they are not from a spinner. They are someone that has used them for decorating, or maybe it's been in the family for a little while. So let's take a look at some of the aspects of a great wheel, how it's made, what kind of condition it might be in whenever you first purchase it, and what you should do before you take it apart to move it. So now, first thing you might want is a tape measure. Let's measure the diameter of the wheel. When it's taken off, will it fit in your vehicle? That is a serious good question. I recently purchased one that was about 49 to 50 inch diameter, had no idea when I bought it out of state, and thought, oh my, it looks wonderful. It's a great little wheel, I want it. Well, then the guy that bought it for me, he said, did you realize that's a 50-inch wheel? It would not fit in my little SUV. No way, no how. So there are ways to get around that we can discuss also. So first off, before you even take it apart, measure the diameter of the wheel, measure your vehicle opening. It can either go into the back or perhaps the passenger door and up over the seat if you don't have a center console, that's a thought, or a truck, which is wonderful if you have one of those. So let's take a look at some of the construction of it. We'll be taking a look up close. The camera might be a little bit shaky. You'll have to endure that. And we'll take a look at this wheel, how it's constructed, and also some others that might be able to help you out if you are taking apart a great wheel for the first time for transportation. Let's take a closer look at the wheel, specifically on this one. We might notice the wheel post has a brace. That is something to be very aware of. It may or may not come off easily, but let's look first at the wheel itself. I want you to check out, is every spoke sturdy? Does it wiggle? Is it firmly attached? If it's not firmly attached, we might have an issue down here where it might be broken at the hub. So that's something we really need to be aware of and extra careful of whenever we move that wheel and take it off of the hub. To take it off the axle. To take it off the axle, this one has a pin on it and a washer. It's in good shape. Nope, thought it had a washer. But it just simply should slip off that axle. Now, whenever you lift the wheel itself, I want you to take it by the hub and support it with the rim. Be very careful of it. You don't know what kind of condition that it's in. This is your first encounter. You can observe the axle at this time, but take it and set it aside, gently lifting by the hub, supported by the rim, and be certain all of those spokes are attached and are firm. Next thing we can look at, the wheel post. This one, I know from experience, will not come off, would not come off easily either. It has a brace to it. Quite often the ones with braces just don't come off very easily. The legs on this one also, I know they don't come off easily either. Quite often you'll lift up a table and those legs will just fall out. So don't be surprised because the legs have shrunk. I know the spindle post on this one will not come out. Do you see that wooden peg in the table? And quite often the wheel post is the same, so you just have to move it in one piece unless the legs do come off. I can, if I choose, I can unscrew the tension screw all the way. I may choose just to leave it in depending on the amount of transportation or the type of transportation I have. The mother of all usually comes off quite easily. They're usually loose. If you're lucky enough to have a spindle and a drive band with it, just wrap around the drive band off of the maidens. Just wrap them around to store it, place it in something that might protect it during transportation. Some items you might take with you at pickup just initially is a baggie for small parts, a small mallet or a dead bang hammer, some rags, and a tape measure. This one is constructed differently with a removable spindle post brace. I can usually just twist that and lift it out gently. Also, you might have a tension nut or a slider block that quite often just easily removes from the table. This one has been a challenge in that it is a double post brace, which is sometimes to the point to where they will not be easily removed. On the back side of that one, it did have a peg inserted, which I have had to bore out, as you can see. The legs easily come off of this one. If I lift up that table, those legs are just going to pop right off. Again, check all of the spindles to be sure they're secure on the rim and down at the hub. If they're loose or broken, be extra cautious of those. You don't want to risk breaking them or injuring or damaging them more during transportation before repairs. If you're lucky enough to have a small SUV, load it up with pillows, blankets, anything that you might be able to roll up, such as towels or foam pads, to help support it during that initial transport until you become familiar with it. If I'm demonstrating or loading a wheel into the back of my SUV, I'll load the table first, all of the spindle posts, cover them up securely so they don't rattle. The wheel goes on top. That way you can pad it and support it as you need. Here you can see I supported the hub and also the rim. That way it's not going to flex too much during the travel process. Remember that 50-inch wheel I told you about? I thought I better make a cardboard cutout. Was it going to fit? Absolutely not. What a disappointment. However, I did find out it would fit into my husband's older Buick 4-door. This one, it would not even fit in the front door because of my center console. However, don't be discouraged if you have a Prius. I have seen for myself how it can go inside the front passenger door if there's no center console, up over the passenger seat, and into the back. You've got room for 2 or 3 spinning wheels in the back of a Prius. Wow, I am impressed. Have fun, find that great treasure, restore it, and enjoy your spinning. Happy spinning.